Good afternoon to everyone, and welcome to our RCC Facebook Live. Today's topic is all about the history of Juneteenth. I'm so excited about what we are about to hear from Ms. Joycelyn Davis. My name is Kelsey Bryant, Prevention Education Coordinator with Lifelines Counseling Services and the Rape Crisis Center. Ms. Davis.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Joycelyn Davis. I am the co-founder and vice president of the Clotilda Descendants Association, and I'm also a resident of Africatown, home of the last documented slave ship in the United States. And today we are going to talk about Juneteenth. And Ms. Kelsey inboxed me and asked me about to tell the history of Juneteenth. I am from Pritchard, right? So in Pritchard, growing up, Juneteenth was always a part of what me and my family did. Under the leadership of Mayor John Smith and Pritchard back in I'm going to say in the 80s, Juneteenth was always something that was a part of Pritchard. Pritchard has always had that Benin connection. Mayor John Smith was, I'm going to say he was close to his roots. He was a voice of culture, and he was really in tune into that. So Juneteenth is a day celebrated, a commemoration for the emancipation of the enslaved people in the United States. The holiday was first celebrated in Texas on the date of June 19th in 1865 after the Civil War. Slaves were declared free, but they weren't free it was signed in 1863, but they weren't free until 2 years later.
Right.
Well, were they really free? They were not really free. I'm going to say that. We were not really free even in 1865. And, this story is close to me because even here in Africatown, the Union soldiers, just like in Texas, came to Mobile to tell my ancestors that they were free. Hence the name of my church, Union Missionary Baptist Church.
Right.
So Juneteenth, it gives me chills to even think about, even in Texas, the soldiers had to come to Texas. And then here in Mobile, the Union soldiers came here to let our people know that they were free. But my question is to the audience is like, well, were we really free in 1865? No, we were not. We were not free in 1865. And they waited 2 years to let us know because they wanted another harvest. Those enslavers were still yet greedy. They still needed us to help them with their crops, to help them grow their crops, because we were brought here for free labor, and they still needed us to labor in the fields. So I know we were going to talk about 4th of July versus Juneteenth. And my father was close to John Smith back during that time, and he's gone to be with the Lord. But we would always celebrate Juneteenth. But when the 4th of July would come around and people would get ready and buy new clothing, as African Americans do, my dad would always remind me, we weren't free. He was like, this is in 1776. Remember, we were not free. So I've been hearing a lot of people say that they never heard of Juneteenth, which is, and I can understand that. With me growing up in Pritchard, and I know I have friends that were in Mobile and Chickasaw and other places, some people were told not to come to Pritchard. But in Pritchard, we celebrated Juneteenth. So that's where I got it from. It started from home and from the area where I'm from.
Okay. And why is it that so many people were told not to come to Pritchard or not to go to Pritchard, or why is Juneteenth like this holiday that African American families and homes are just now starting to celebrate? Was it supposed to be? I know it wasn't supposed to be a secret. What is it that is surrounding that?
I don't understand the secret, and I mean, I understand the negative connotation that the community has, but we had that. We had Juneteenth. If we didn't have anything else, we had Juneteenth because Mayor John Smith, and even at the mayors after him, but I know he was one who started it. He would bring in Benin delegates. So I mean, there was drumming, there was activity, there was art, and it was a free event. I am a former runner. I'm a light jogger now, but it would start at a 5K would start in the morning, and then at 11 o'clock it'd be festivities all day. And as African Americans, sometimes we embrace other holidays. We embrace the 4th of July. We embrace Cinco de Mayo. We embrace so many other holidays than our own. So I just want people to stay consistent in embracing Juneteenth. I think that with the social climate that we're in today, people are like, Juneteenth, you know, it took for something to happen for us to embrace it. Right. Which, you know, I'm double-sided on that. But if now people are more conscious about it, let's hold on to it. You know, let's stay consistent in celebrating Juneteenth. I live here in Africatown, and Saturday we're going to have a Juneteenth celebration at the Robert Ho Community Center. Right. And also we're going to have drumming, art, vendors, and all those things. And even though it's going to rain, the activities will be on the inside. So we had that option of bringing it on the inside. But Juneteenth is not new. This celebration started in Texas in 1979. So I think it's just kind of hard to say. You just needed that champion in the family and in the area to say, hey, this is our holiday. And that's what we had here in my community with Mayor John Smith. He was that one back during that time when I was a little girl, and the mayors before him kept that going. So that's how I knew.
Yeah. Okay. How do we keep this going? Do you think the you know, maybe our grandparents, our great grandparents, do you think the elders were just in the community, were they just scared to talk about it, or were they just told not to talk about it? Or I know it's very relevant, you know, it's something that needs to continue. So what do you think happened along the way? Because I'll be very honest with you, this is not something that we celebrated in my home, you know, when I was a child. So, you know, of course, as adults, we take it upon ourselves and we feel like it's our responsibility to kind of, you know, tell, you know, the children today about Juneteenth and things of that nature. But what happened? You know, why didn't I hear about this when I was a child?
Yeah, that's a great question of what happened. Like, how did people not know? And we can't, you know, I can understand our elders during it, how they grew up, and you know, we were always like a secretive group of people. You know, don't talk about that. We're not going to talk about that. We're not going to do that. And slavery for some was like a shameful thing. Right. You know, how do we embrace, and we can embrace it, but how do you embrace being free? Which it should be easy, but it's just the notion of we were enslaved. And in a celebration for that, I hold a Spirit of Our Ancestors Festival in Africatown to commemorate my ancestors who survived the Middle Passage. These events can be celebrated, but we just have to know how to celebrate them. I know that we have a new generation that's coming up that's embracing Juneteenth. I just need them, again, I'm repeating myself, to stay consistent. Like, I don't know, because I even last year, some people were coming up to me and they was like, well, I never heard of Juneteenth. And I was like, man, gosh, you know, if you guys knew Mayor John Smith, even Dr. Reginald Crenshaw, who works at Bishop State, he was a part of Juneteenth. I remember him setting up for Juneteenth. But and I hate to say it was a preacher thing, what should have been everybody's thing.
Right, exactly, exactly. And so, those who told individuals not to go to Pritchard for whatever reason,
For whatever reason.
for whatever reason, it should have been reversed. No, go to Pritchard. Let's talk about our history. Let's talk about these things that our ancestors could not talk about. Let's come to the table and really talk about our history and the things that we should be proud of. Yeah, were there a lot of negative things that shouldn't have happened? We already know that, but how do we move forward? I guess is the biggest question. How do we move forward, knowing that Juneteenth is real, it's to be celebrated, it's our history, something that we should be proud of. How do we move forward from that? From all the negativity.
Right, and we can.
Yeah.
We can. I mean, with what we have lined up for Saturday with drumming and art and dance, this will draw the young people and they will look forward to it next year. Where it can be bigger and better. But as African Americans, we tend to embrace everything. We need to embrace our own holiday.
Yes.
And again, I can just remember, people going out to buy outfits and,
Yes. 4th of July outfits. Yeah. Now do we need to start buying Juneteenth outfits? I mean, is that going to help us, is that going to help us get where we need to be if we buy Juneteenth outfits, and I'm just joking about that, but.
Oh, no, I get that. Cause it's like, it's like, oh, I need to get my hair done for Juneteenth, it needs to be, we need to be conditioned to say that, oh, I'm getting ready for Juneteenth, because we'll get ready for Cinco de Mayo and whatever they have down, the Irish holiday where they throw the cabbages and things like that.
Yeah.
Get that.
Yeah.
We get ready for
St. Patrick's Day. Yeah.
St. Patrick's Day. I'm sorry, St. Patrick's Day. You know that there are buses.
Yeah.
Go to New Orleans.
Yes, ma'am.
St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
And people look forward to getting off from work to go to Cinco de Mayo. And we take off for 4th of July. We buy outfits. So when it comes to Juneteenth, we don't know anything about it.
No. That is a huge problem. I don't know, if everyone sees it that way. I personally see it that way. And these are not things that we're going to learn from a textbook, from a history book. These are, our history lessons that we need to learn from our community, from our elders. So, how do we create that safe space for our elders to tell us? I mean, could you just imagine all of the history lessons that we could get if we actually just kind of created that space? And I know spaces have been created, all across, the country or what have you. But how do we locally create that space for our elders to feel comfortable telling those very difficult things that they may have experienced, and just all of those history lessons that we wouldn't get otherwise?
Well, we can, because on Saturday, Elder McKenday Bollingham will give a brief history on Juneteenth. We have people like Elder McKenday, Miss Deborah Ferguson, who is a professor at the University of South Alabama. So I am pinpointing those people, and along with the other board members, of who can tell the story to these children. Right. So we do have these people, and Elder McKenday has been around for a while, so he is happy to do that. I just think that these people are at our disposal, but it's just up to us to go and find them, because they are so willing to tell the story. Now is a charge on me to become that person to tell the story as well. So
are those stories being recorded? Is someone recording those?
That's a great question.
In some type of way?
That's a great question. So I will look into that. That's a great question. So that's something that I will look into when we have this event on Saturday. That's a great question.
Just almost in a sense of not, almost kind of creating our own textbook, our own history textbook. I mean, because this This is not stuff, again, like we didn't learn this in school.
Mhm.
But if you think about it, it's our responsibility. It's our
Mhm.
community's responsibility to teach, teach the community these things. We can't rely on other communities to do that.
No, you
Oh,
can. And
yeah.
I often say that, and sometimes it sounds old school, but there needs to be pamphlets in hand where kids, we can pass out a pamphlet and say, hey, read this, or go to this link
Yeah.
and read about it. I mean, because everyone has a smartphone, iPhone. Some of these kids have phones better than me.
Right.
They can
Right.
Google it, So that's the thing. So we just had to stay consistent. And I, to be honest with you, I know that I am a descendant of the Clotilda, the descendant of Africatown. Now, when I was in elementary school and middle school, no, I didn't tell everybody,
Hmm.
right? Afraid of being teased. I never knew how people would
Hmm.
approach me with that. I knew that, I lived in Africatown, and where my great grandmother lived is all family, was established by my ancestor, which was different from everybody else's neighborhood, that all of us lived in this little section.
Hmm.
But I always knew who I was, but I didn't tell everybody. So that fear, I don't know if that is something that has been passed down. And
Hmm.
no, I don't blame elders for anything, because they probably had their reasons, but that
Exactly.
cycle could be broken.
Yeah. Yes. And
Mhm.
I think that's the charge that we have is to break that cycle and to
Mhm.
get those stories recorded, all of those lessons that we need, because who knows, within those lessons are so many ideas that we could bring forth, so many visions that people could bring forth, that they may not have had the chance to do so, but
Right.
with the generations, now and to come, may be able to bring a lot of those things to fruition. I mean, there are so many opportunities that could be had with just those lessons being told and those stories that we need to hear.
Mhm. So it's just the thing of staying connected with myself and those who in charge and preach it with the Juneteenth celebration, and
Okay.
we can spread the word. I mean, they've been on Fox 10 to talk about Juneteenth. Flyers have been sent out,
Hmm.
but we're going to debrief after Juneteenth celebration Saturday and say, hey, what we going to do next year? How can we do better? So,
Right.
so that's a charge on us, is how can we do better? And how can we spread this word further than our communities, so
Right.
people can come in? But there are celebrations all over, like in Atlanta and New Orleans. They're always doing different things that we do here in Mobile. So we want to become like those other cities that
Right.
embrace their culture.
Yeah, that truly embrace it. Yeah. And when is that celebration? So it's Saturday, where and what time again?
It is Saturday from 3 until 5 at the Robert Hope Community Center.
Okay. Okay. Good. So, and I forgot to mention this before because I was just so excited to jump in. But for those who are joining us via Facebook Live, if you have any questions or any comments, please join the conversation and just drop those in the chat, and we will make sure that we acknowledge those comments or those questions. And so, Ms. Davis, can you tell us a little bit more about your organization?
Mhm. Well, we are the Clotilda Descendants Association,
Mhm.
and we are a group of descendants of Africatown and the Clotilda. And I always say that it is not about the ship, but it's about the people.
Mhm.
So in 1808, the importation of enslaved Africans was deemed illegal. 50 years later, there was a war between tribes in the Kingdom of Dahomey, which is the present day Benin. And there was an article sent out in the Mobile Press Register that there was a war between tribes and there was a brisk sale of slaves, enslaved Africans. So a wealthy business owner here in Mobile by the name of Timothy Mayer got word of it. So he and his business partners, along with his brother, hired Captain William Foster, who was a shipbuilder, to build a flotilla, which he had already built a flotilla, but he had outfitted it to bring back the enslaved Africans. And this was in 1850, 1860 is when Captain William Foster sailed from Mobile to Benin to bring back 110 enslaved Africans, which again was deemed illegal 50 years prior.
Wow.
So, and when these enslaved Africans, which my ancestor, but two of my ancestors was on the flotilla, when they arrived in Mobile in 1860, they hit the ground running. They had what I call a 5-year plan. They built a community, they built a church, and they built a school. And after working for 5 years, they asked, could they go back home? And when they were told that they couldn't go back home, they said, well, we'll make this our own Africatown. So they formed Africatown, which is amazing. It is a story of resilience, courage, and pride of everything they did. They founded Union Missionary Baptist Church, which I attend. After being
Shout out to Pastor Tucker. Shout out to Pastor Tucker and First Lady Inez Tucker.
Yeah, those are my good. They're my friends. They're my friends, and of course, my pastor and the First Lady.
Right, that's right.
Yeah. So they were actually teased. They first started at Stone Street, which Stone Street is the oldest church.
Right. Right.
But they were actually teased when they went to Stone Street.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So they formed their
do we know why, or can we say why?
Well, because of the way they wore their clothing, their accent. Although there were other Africans here, they were so new that they still had their accent. They didn't wear their clothing the correct way. Not saying the correct way, but it was just a normal how we tease one another. Not saying that, but you know how people tease.
That's another conversation there to be had. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
So they formed their own church. They formed Union Baptist. They formed Union Baptist, and they wanted to be educated. Mm-hmm. So they built their school, Mobile County Training School, which was established in 1880. And then they asked for them to send it. Well, okay, we build this school. Now you bring us a teacher. So they commissioned someone to get them, bring them some teachers in. So it is a great story. My ancestor, his name is Oluwale and Maggie Lewis. His enslaved name was Charlie Lewis. So I try not to call him Charlie anymore, because in Dreams of Africa in Alabama, it was written that before they passed away, they would ask for people to call them by their African name. So I know that the story talks about Timothy Mayer, but there were others who were involved in this, right? And also, Captain Foster did not go over empty-handed. There was an exchange because he went over with $9,000 in gold to purchase. And so the king of Dahomey, King Lele, received those $9,000 in gold. But there were other, like I said, there were several people involved. And the person who enslaved my ancestors was Colonel Thomas Buford. And Oluwale and several other enslaved Africans bought land for him, in which they established Lewis's quarters. Some of my family members live today. They established that in 1870. And some of those enslaved Africans were shipped to Selma. Okay. They were shipped in different places. And we just connected with the Descendants Association, just connected with Matilda Creer family. She was the oldest living female, because for years, Cudjoe Lewis was the one to live the longest, but she's actually one to live the longest. They just found research on her because she was shipped to Selma. So our organization is a group of descendants from Cudjoe Lewis, Oluwale, Polly Allen, Goompa Lee, Matilda Creer, Lottie Dennison. And so we all come together. We meet monthly to talk about, different projects we want to do. We're a fairly new group, and we're growing, but there was an original organization back in the 1980s. So we're a newly formed organization.
I think I could probably sit and listen to this history all day. I mean, just some of the things that you were saying now, I didn't know anything about.
Mhm.
So, just us taking time out with one another and exchanging those stories and
Mhm.
exchanging those lessons that we have been fortunate enough to be told to us for us to learn. So I
Mhm.
think that is just so important. And I thank you so much for I know you are very busy. So thank you so much for coming on today and taking time out of your busy schedule and just sharing, this history and your wisdom with the community and those who are viewing us today. I really, really appreciate it. And I know that, some individuals that may have wanted to drop a comment or question in the chat that didn't, I know they really, really appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah. And what was I going to ask? Is there anything else about Africatown that you would like others to know? Or do you think you pretty much covered it?
Well, we have some exciting news. They're going to with the help of Miss Commissioner Lovegood, which
Mhm.
Africatown just loves.
We all love her.
Okay, great,
Yeah.
great. So they're building what they call a heritage house in Africatown, which will be behind the Robert Hope Center, and it's going to be a museum where people can come in and look at the artifacts, because they're going to do a dive where they're going to bring up the artifacts from the ship, and they're going to house it in the heritage house. So we're going to have a museum there, and across from our church will be the future home of the Welcome Center.
Okay.
So that's coming, and then also the city of Mobile is going to have a water tour. They're going to start at Gulf Quest with a film. And they're gonna have a thing where visitors can take a trip to the site.
Okay.
Where the Clotilda is, and we're excited for that. Just so many things are happening in Africatown. There are several groups that we have. The Africatown Community Development Corporation, led by Cleon Jones. We also have a environmental group, CHESS, led by Major Joe Womack. The Clotilda Descendants Association,
Okay.
the Africatown Heritage Preservation Foundation, which will be an umbrella to all the other organizations.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also Miss Adeline Clark
Mm-hmm.
is we're going to have some type of redevelopment in Africatown.
Okay.
And she and Commissioner Lovegood have been the champions for that. So I'm excited. I can't wait to see what Africatown should look like. Economic growth, redevelopment, tourism.
Mm-hmm.
So because this story is huge. And I don't like to use the word hate, but I hate that it took for the ship to be found for these things to happen.
For the fire to get ignited.
Right. But Commissioner Lovegood and Adeline Clark have been doing this way before that.
Mm-hmm.
But the attraction from the media and other people like that. So because it's been a long time coming, and there are people who've been working, like Mr. Cleon Jones, Joe Womack, Anderson Flynn, who have been working for years to try to get some things done, and along with Commissioner Lovegood and Adeline Clark and Senator Vivian Figures.
Mm-hmm. Well, that all of that information is quite exciting. I'm hoping that I can keep up. So hopefully you and I will keep in touch, and you kind of keep me in the loop, and then I can keep the agency in the loop and everything. And of course, I know that you'll be in contact with Chandra. So
yeah, then also when you
yeah.
mentioned Pastor Tucker, all you have to do, and Lady Inez,
Right.
yeah, he will keep you informed.
Exactly. Exactly. So I'm excited for everything that is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And I know those who are listening right now are excited as well. And we have a couple of thank yous. Pam Quintana and Neosha Hart have thanked us for this conversation today. So
Okay.
thank y'all for joining in, and thank you for your comment. All right, is there anything else, Miss Davis? Because I think we could probably chat forever about this history.
I know. I just put our website in the link.
Okay, awesome. And so that link is the ClotildaStory.com if anybody wants to visit and look at all the exciting things that are happening, and as well as the history. I'm sure you have a lot of history on there as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you did not catch it all, you know, what have you, you can go to the ClotildaStory.com and kind of brush up on that history, maybe find out some things that you didn't know.
Right.
So again, Ms. Davis, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
For coming on to, again, share that history and that wisdom with us. And I know I learned something today, and I'm sure those who are viewing us with us are have learned something today as well. I think we have another thank you from Valencia Ross.
Okay.
Curtin, she says thank you as well.
All
So
right.
hopefully everyone will go and view that history on that website. So again, thank you so much.
You're welcome, and just stay in contact with us. Myself, Pastor Tucker, you know, we're welcome. And between myself and Pastor Tucker and Lady Inez, you're good.
Yes, ma'am. I agree. And yeah, Lady Inez is a really good friend of mine. So yeah, I will be in contact with all of you and about, you know, the upcoming events, and see who else I can kind of loop in.
Okay. Yes, sounds great.
And to those of you who are watching, thank y'all so much for viewing this Facebook Live and this RCC Roundtable today. And until next time, everybody take good care.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.